Hi, everybody. As you can see, I have a guest, my great friend, Jennie Friedman. Now, Jennie, it's impossible for me to introduce you to my family on here, only because you have so many certifications, whatever you call it.
Oh,
You know
right.
what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
what would you call yourself? Like, how would you describe yourself, like, to a child, what you do? Because you could say big words to me and I would have to go look it up, but
I just tell people I'm a coach, which means I just help people with what they need help with.
yeah, that's yeah, that's good. That's real good. Um, and we've been, gosh, this day and age is so hard to get guests on podcasts. Not just you and your busy schedule, but like everybody else I've tried to reach out with. So I'm so
Huh.
happy that you're here.
Well, thank you.
But we I think we accidentally talk about things, and it's just so amazing to me. But we just started to talk about how you're so interested in the brain, right?
Yes.
Because of this telescope behind you. And
Yes.
but I'm like, and I said, I feel like the brain is like the computer of everything. You're like, I don't know, I think it's the heart. But do you mean like the real heart?
Right. So, like, I always thought that the computer, I mean, if we have a computer like organ, it would be the brain because it's kind of thinking like how we think a computer is thinking and processing information, and it's in charge of things moving and going places and doing and thinking and all this stuff. So, yeah, I get that. But from what I've been reading lately, and don't even ask me because I couldn't even quote it. I don't know. It's just I've been reading a lot of different stuff, and it seems apparently our heart may be more in charge of us than even our brain. I realize they both work in tandem and they're both important, and we can't, like you could be brain dead and still alive. But if your heart
Right.
is dead, you're dead.
Right,
So
right,
that
right.
started me thinking, oh, huh, right. But they're finding that, like, serotonin and stuff, like, actually, our gut health is, and you probably know more about that than I do, but like our gut is where most of our serotonin is,
Right.
and becomes, I think it becomes generated there or something. I don't really know, but it's actually not. I always thought of it as a neurotransmitter in the brain, but it actually, we have more serotonin in our gut and traveling up to in our heart space. So the heart actually has memory and has things that we just never I never associated with the heart. I always thought the brain was the real computer, right, of the body. And now I'm like kind of like maybe it's the heart. Maybe the heart is actually the, at least, more of the on off switch, right?
Yeah. So I can see where this could be so deep. Because I don't think anything is absolute, right?
Right.
Anything I think when we're dead and gone, then maybe we get the book that really explains how everything was supposed to work. But then did we override it with science, you know?
Right.
But and you so because like your brain, so I'm convinced your brain will always get what it needs. So if you're like the brain will always get enough air, it'll always get enough water, it always get the things it needs to keep you alive. And so if you're competing in a race, like the race I just had a couple days ago, if I start to dehydrate, my brain's like, oh, we're getting low on fluids. We can't run out. So we're shutting off the foot, the leg. You know what I mean? Like that's where
Right.
you start to cramp, you start to have other issues because the brain does that. So I think it's the same with like if you stand up too fast, your brain's like, whoa, we don't have enough oxygen. We're cutting off everything else till it gets caught up, and then you're good. But and so
Well, the heart
so
also does that kind of, mitigates, like some people, their heart just grows bigger to
Yeah.
accommodate what your body needs.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but it's like they work together, but separately.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they have to agree on the end result. However, they're not really in complete partnership. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of they can function without the other, but can they? You
That's
know what
what
I
I'm
mean?
saying. I think that the heart can function in without the brain, but I don't think the brain can function without the heart.
But oh, but if you had a heart transplant,
Hmm.
you have a different heart.
Yeah, but it's still the body's heart, like the heart that's running the show.
Right. Like I know what I'm thinking. There's just no way I can get,
You're like,
you know what I
wait,
mean? Like
wait,
it's
wait,
just
wait. It's like an itch you can't scratch.
yeah.
Ah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It so so you've seen my Manifest, right? The show
yes.
Manifest.
Oh,
How
love it.
how long ago did you see it?
When it first came out,
Which it was on TV before, right?
yes, it was like on Channel 4, CBS.
Okay. And I think I'd heard about it, but I don't really have any channels, so I didn't really hear about it. And so I've just like done this deep dive, binge
Mm,
watch, whatever on
mm,
Netflix.
so
And
good.
now I'm just like everything I've done is like just like that show. Like everything's tied together. Like I tell people I'm getting like every little clue or dream or anything I had, it's like I had a calling. Like I'm saying
Yes,
shit like that. And it's just like, but it's crazy. Then I'm like, well, how far off from the truth could that show really be?
right.
And when's the next season coming out? It's driving me crazy.
Well, I couldn't believe they didn't do a season 3 because I was like, who doesn't love this? This is the best show ever.
But I think
Now,
it's
a
some,
little melodramatic in spots, but overall, I mean, the storyline is fantastic.
yeah. But I think sometimes don't they come out with things like that just to, and it fails on television because there's the options are different. And now all of a sudden, here we are years later on Netflix. And it's like, now we want more. They're like, oh shit, we got to go back and make more. Like that's how
I hope so.
Cobra Kai was. I mean, it's crazy, but it's
I
like,
hope so. That would be cool.
that's where our brain goes now is because I don't watch regular television. Do you?
No, no.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. No, I don't think I watch any regular television. I love that show, um, the Treasure of Oak Island, like the buried treasure of Oak Island.
No, never heard of it.
Oh my God, so good. It comes out in the fall, and it's these guys from Michigan that own an island in Canada off Nova Scotia, and they go digging for treasure, and they find stuff. There's a story, and they've gone back. They found artifacts from 1200.
So it's like real.
It's real. It's real. It's not made up.
Oh, see,
Yeah. So I'm obsessed with that. And any show where they show digging, I'm into it. Like I can watch digging for gold, digging for Egyptian mummies, like whatever if you're digging up something, I'm watching you. I love it.
why?
I don't know, it's like a mystery. It's like a surprise and there's a little bit of magic to it because things stay underneath the ground like unchanged.
Yeah.
So when you pull it up, I mean, some of it decomposes or whatever, but like you can find things that are like just stopped in time.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
It's amazing.
so and here's what's weird for me. So I literally will watch only things that I don't know how to explain it. And maybe everybody else is like this. I never thought about this. I only watch stuff that really change like my mood or my state, not just in the moment, but it's like
Mhm.
forever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it Like
I
when I
think
go to
that's what, because we're
concerts,
Pisces. I don't think that everybody does that.
but even in concerts, anytime I've ever been to a concert, I don't like get into it, all that. I'm like just so focused and fantasy. Like I can't believe what they're doing. I can't believe all these people. Like I feel like I'm the only one that's just like disconnected. Like I'm removed from the room. I'm watching a special show. You know what I mean? Like I'm
Yeah.
moved by it,
Yeah.
but not in that interactive way, if
I
that
think a
makes
lot of
sense.
people are not like that.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure I'm not like a lot of people. I mean, I'm sure I'm, yeah, the oddity.
Yeah, well, no, but I mean, yes, there's definitely more of us. It's just that
We're we're the A2
the A2Ers.
See, it's been too long since you've seen Manifest.
Oh yeah,
People
it
from the
is.
plane were the A2
Yes, it's been too long. Oh, but I loved it so.
Yeah.
I loved it. And I would watch it in real life and then I'd watch it again on the repeat because you could go into the TV and watch it again.
Yeah.
So I've seen
Well, and
most of
that,
the episodes at least twice.
yeah, me too. And I even somebody was watching it in the car coming back, and I was listening to it driving, and it was just like I was back. But
I was kind of waiting for the scene where all of a sudden the plane shows up with all of them on it and all of them watching them arrive. That never did
well,
happen, but I was kind of waiting for that to happen.
like it's just yeah, it's
Like they went through some time portal and different timelines, and they all of a sudden this self was all of a sudden confronted with this self. It didn't happen
yeah,
that way, but or not yet. I mean, they could always come back and feel free to take that idea if anybody's watching. They write the show like that would be cool. But
yeah.
yeah.
So like so you lost both your parents.
Mhm.
Do you think they like speak to you in a is that what it's called? Speak to you in a way? Like, don't you get like a feeling or a vibe that, oh, that's my dad talking to me, or oh, you know what I mean?
Um,
Or is that more of a fresh moment thing?
I feel like that is, I mean, hey, everybody's experience is different, so I don't proclaim to know the truth about any of it. But my experience is in the first, I think the first 5 years, maybe I would say I felt my mom all the time. And then it just kind of went to not so much. And then it was kind of like just less and less, but she's kind of on demand. If I want to, she's there
Yeah, yeah.
if I want her. Um, but my dad, no, I did not sense him around like ever until I got married. I do think he was there that day. And then he came through. I had this psychic reading with some other people, and he came through to tell me basically to because a lot of my work at the time, this was a few years ago, but at the time, because he had ADHD and, you know, he had bipolar and there was mental illness and he committed suicide. So there was a different way he died than just my mom died of natural causes. But so I always kind of had this, you know, I don't know the feelings. Like the first 10 years I was angry, I was young. And so I was angry and I never went on a crusade talking about being a survivor of a parent dying. Like it came up in mental, like when people were interviewing me and stuff. Um, so there's been some stuff written that that I've said or that I've written stories slant like especially around Father's Day. I'd write some stories about missing my dad or whatever. But he came through this psychic reading basically telling me that I don't have to feel the way I was feeling about him. Like
Yeah.
I forget the words, but it was kind of the gist of like get over it. And I was kind of like, "Oh wait, snap, you cannot take your life and then tell me how to feel about it." Like I was mad. And but that really was interesting because I feel like that language need I probably like, I'm really into believing into the agreements, you know about that? Like, we make soul agreements with each other.
No,
Oh my god, you don't know about that?
no, but you're gonna tell me.
I'm gonna tell you. So anyway, it's basically like the thought or the belief that before we come down to earth in this incarnation, that we make agreements with each other. Like, "Hey, Tim, we'll meet each other and you'll play this role and I'll play this role and we're going to learn from each other and we're going to expand our consciousness through this experience." Right? So I feel like my dad and I probably soul versions of us, right? Like our souls, not Jenny and Kibi, but like whatever we go by when we're not here. We're like talking, saying, "Okay, I'll be your dad, and okay, you'll be my daughter. Like we'll agree, right? And then I'm gonna kill myself, right? And then you're gonna, and then I mean, I think a lot of what we experience is fated, and I lose a lot of people there because a lot of people are like now, free choice, not so much as fated. I think at the end, like you said, when we die and we find out
Yeah.
more that we didn't know here, yeah, there's probably like these destiny points. Like there's things, yes, there's a lot of free will, but there's also some things are going to happen. How they're going to happen, maybe we have more say in it, but they're going to happen. Because that was one of the messages that came through in that reading was he said, "Listen, what happened to me was going to happen. If not that day, it would have been another day." Which at the time I thought was really weird, but then I learned all this stuff later and I was like, "Oh, that's probably what he meant." And also the fact that he said that to me, that triggered me so hard, probably was specific to trigger me so that I would snap to and realize, because the triggers like, "Hello, you need to work on this." Like that's what trigger is, right? Don't avoid your triggers. Like go full on into them like, "Oh, what is this I need to work on?" So I started working on it and thinking about it. And I think he used that kind of language and that kind of, and said what he said so that it would trigger me to realize, to help wake me up, to help me do my big awakening that I've had since that reading. Because the reading was nothing about awakening or any of that. It's just because he said that, though, got me started to thinking about agreements and what we say and how we talk and how we are living our life and what we believe, because what we believe informs our whole experience.
Right.
There's
Right.
a lot. There's a lot. I could go on and on, but you know what I'm saying? So I think because he so never came around, he's been gone now for 30 plus years. Because it was this like second time ever that he's made an appearance that I was really tuned in, because this wasn't like, "Oh, whenever you need me, I'm here" thing.
Right. So
So I think it's different for everybody. And I do
yeah,
think some people have their parents around all the time, and especially in the beginning.
but I think it's also like kind of where your mind is,
Mhm.
like, so I mean, I had this crazy weekend, right? My car broke down, had to be towed in. I was out of town, like all this craziness, right? Then
Yeah.
I get we had no food. So it's like we are literally helpless in a home. And I we ordered Chinese food or something, right?
Right.
Grab a fortune cookie, and this is what it said. This Friday will be an exciting time for you. And it was on Friday. And I'm like, so it's like I can choose to get that, or someone else could have grabbed that one. But it's just like, to me, it's like I choose to think that pertains to me. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm so
Yes.
open-minded that I'm like, no, it's good that we're getting signs, or I'm accepting of all signs and all things like that. And it's just kind of crazy. But like that's where I'm like, oh, we can call them signs, whatever. But now I'm like tying it back to manifest, going, it was a calling, right? Because that's what they were calling their their premonitions and all that was,
Yes.
that. So I'm like, anything that I don't know what to do, if I just like stop and think, I'm like, oh, I mean, it's just I think it's, whether I really hear my parents or not, I don't know, but it's just like a clue or something they planted in my head really
I
early
do
in
think
life.
that
Like,
I think that happens for sure.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it's kind of like I see it kind of like guideposts for us along the way.
Yeah.
But from what I understand, you can ask for signs and stuff. The problem it really is more about being open to it. It's
Yeah.
not that signs aren't all around you all the time. It's that we just dismiss and we justify or we rationalize and we overanalyze and we don't believe it and so we miss a lot of signs, I think,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm so open to everything, and I'm just like, there's nothing that's wrong or incorrect. I mean, because there's too many weird coincidences. It's just
Yeah.
like, I think everything happens the exact way it's supposed to happen. Like,
Yes.
it's just, you got to be open minded to everything. But
Yes.
yeah,
And with your parents, I think, how they passed away and like the circumstances, created a real compelling case for people's attention. Like that
yeah,
wasn't just uh quietly in the night randomly, no one knows. That was all of a sudden splashed all over the world.
yeah,
That was a real listen, I believe even the silent in the night anonymous person dying, that's a contribution. That's
yeah,
just as valid, but this was a very loud contribution
yeah,
to
yeah,
people's understanding and awareness, I think, which is a
yeah.
gift, which is a gift, you know?
Gosh, this is without structure provided by you. This is, I think, how most conversations will go with us. Right? I mean, because what did we even start talking about? Brain and heart and like who's in charge, and then
Right.
somehow we're here.
Oh, I have another thing to share.
Good. I don't even know how long I've been recording, to be honest with you.
I don't know either.
It doesn't matter.
All right, I'll share this last thing and then we can
No, it doesn't matter. We're good.
So I learned this recently too, was and it had to do with this whole because I've been looking into ascending out of 3D into 4D into 5D. It's been fascinating to me. Which we kind of go over some of these frequencies and vibration, all that stuff. But this is like figure that if you can get up to this high vibration and stay there for longer periods, that you not only do you change your whole life, right? But we're also impacting all there is everywhere. So I was watching this guy who his name's Matthias and on Gaia, and he's really, for many people, I'm sure, way out there because he's got quite the story. But he was explaining some things, and it was kind of fascinating because I was like, I could see that because he was saying how really, and I've not just got this from him. This is actually I've heard this from other people. One being Anne Montgomery. She wrote some books about the beginning of time and stuff. She was like, I don't know, in the 60s or 70s or 50s or somewhere.
Hmm.
She was saying things like this. Other Edgar Casey said things like this. Other people have said things like this, but he was basically saying that we as souls are here, like we're here to help Earth. It's actually not human beings that are I mean, yes, human beings are ascending, I guess, or getting high, it's really Earth is ascending. The whole thing that we are as humans is Earth. Like we literally are of Earth. So the story is the souls were cast down, hit the planet, and souls can be anywhere at any time, everywhere at any time. Two places at once, three places at once can be like it's really hard for a human to grasp the capabilities of soul. But if you can think of light, that's the closest thing I think we could say, okay, I get that. Light can be everywhere, light can be here, it can be like, right? So, but humans, we started Like, oh, we hit the planet because the planet sent out a call saying, I am, which meant in all the universe, it was like a little baby being born saying, all of a sudden realizing it was itself. It was all of a sudden growing a consciousness. So souls were like, oh, let's go help Earth become more conscious. So we came down and it was like, ooh, look at this place. This is fun. And like we picked berries and we ate them and we just grew this organic, like what we now know as the human, you know, but it started with us partaking of Earth and becoming of Earth. Like, so that part of us that is this organic tissue stuff, like when we die, the bodies, we are bodies, that's Earth, which is, I know it sounds crazy, but if you just think about, so we're like the planet's neurons.
Okay.
I know that is so good. But it was saying like the water, like the oceans are the Earth's bloodstream. There's a map I saw where they were basically showing some continents were the lungs, the United States was the throat. It was really interesting because it basically was like if you can imagine the human body has all these organs and parts, so does Earth. It was like Earth, so we're the neurons. We're like running around with information and making things happen, just like neurons in our brain. And that's what we're doing here is to be on Earth doing whatever you do. Like you can't mess this up.
Yeah.
Whatever you do is beautiful because you're experiencing and you're creating. You're just here. Just being here is sending ripples out into the universe of energy. And so it's really not about, oh, I came to Earth to be a doctor. It's not about what you do as much as just be. Just be you. Just be whatever you want to be.
Yeah.
You can't really mess it up.
Well, yeah, there's this guy, Sada Guru. I don't know if you've heard of him.
No.
Like, I mean, he's this mystic from India. I got his book. It's about karma, where he's like breaks it down. Like, karma is, it's not, you don't do anything and it reflects on you bad. Like you're dealing with years and years of your family, whatever. Like, but he goes, people always want the hardest explanation. He goes, the earth and the planets are formed this way. He goes, what if God is playing marbles and he did one and it went off the board and that's Earth? Nobody wants to believe it can be that simple. It's got to believe the hardest, most complicated version.
Right.
But what if it was? Oh, what happened?
I don't know.
Oh
Where'd you
no.
go?
There
you know. Are.
Who knows? Anyway, but he's got a good book called Karma, and it's not really about anything karma that we've ever
I think so
discussed.
too. I've read some things that kind of make me realize that karma is probably not what we've thought of it. It is about cause and effect, but cause and effect is not payback.
Yeah,
It's
it's
not
not
about
how.
payback.
Yeah, but yeah, it's I mean, and I totally get what you're saying. And it's just like I've heard this other thing too on someone else's podcast, I can't remember who, where they studied like they saw like an eagle flying around a lake, and all of a sudden they realize he's following a fish, and the next thing you know, he's diving down and picks the fish up. Well, then after they looked at it more and more and day after day, they realized the eagle's flying around. The fish isn't there. The fish sees the eagle, and the fish then takes off because the fish knows it needs to be eaten by the eagle. Like it's that whole big
Oh,
interesting, that's its purpose is to, and I think I think
yeah.
as humans, we kind of go against what we're supposed to be doing, and I think like, my mom was into that Urantia book where it kind of
Yes.
explains your true existence, whatever. And I think that's
That's
where
some wild shit if someone wants to check that out.
it's very wild and confusing. Like I'm like, give me 10 words to understand, not this whole chapter. I don't get it. And you just gotta like go and listen to more and more for you understand it. But it's like it's one of those things that was the way it was supposed to be for her. It wasn't like, oh nope, let's use all the science so I can stay alive. You know what I mean? It's like, nope, I'm done. I'm going somewhere else. And it was that simple. I'm like, that's where I think as humans we muddy the water too much.
Well, we're always looking for the one thing, and we're always looking for the truth about something, and I mean the truth is really about perspective.
Yeah.
So, people can be arguing, but actually we're just looking at different parts of the same thing. It's such a waste of time. Like either
Yeah.
someone's I'm at the point now where someone's either vibing with me, they're on my page, or they're not. That's fine.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really mean they're wrong. It just means
They're somewhere else.
they're not on my planet.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not wrong. It's just they're in some different area of the zoo looking at a different cage. I'm over here and they're over there.
Yeah. Why did you say zoo?
I don't know. It just hit me that it's kind of like a zoo.
Because then I'm like, when was the last time she went to the zoo? I don't know. I would because we talk TV. Well, they're watching some other channel, not, and
Right.
anyway.
Same thing. Same thing. They're
Yeah.
just somewhere else doing something else. And it doesn't mean we're in the same place, but we're just looking at two different things in the same place.
Yeah. It's funny. Like I always say this, like I feel like it was just the way we were connected was a perfect accident, because it was like I didn't really understand what a podcast was. Had an iPhone. I was literally at my son's soccer game, the most boring thing in the whole world. It was like 2015, back when they just run around, don't even know what they're doing, right? So I'm not even
Yeah.
watching the game. I'm playing my phone, I look at podcasts, look at ADHD, I listen to you. Like, it was like, okay. And then anyway, I found you. Then it was like we're in and out of each other's lives, but it's like right now in this moment, we're so connected. And it was so funny because I said this last night. You posted something on Facebook. I literally had it
I
loaded to
know.
post
That was
again. And
crazy.
I'm like, wait a minute, that's familiar. I'm like, oh shit, I was about to post the same thing. And not even I heard it. I didn't even see it. It was just amazing
You're
to
like
me.
you were like, "You stole my thunder." I'm like, It's okay.
I would make sure you
Um,
knew you didn't think I was stealing your thunder.
you can steal any thunder I got going on. You're welcome to it.
It
It
kind of
was
feels
just
good when people share or borrow your stuff, doesn't it?
I
It means you're
listen, I shared that. That was someone else's thing. I saw it and was like, "Yes."
yeah,
Um,
that's crazy.
I feel like when you feel connected, ride the wave because there's all kinds of presents and gifts and fun that comes with that.
Yeah.
So, right? And this is like, when we started this year and started working together, like in my group thing, like I was like, this is the year, like, this is the $1 million year. You're like, oh, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
making 10 million. I'm like, all right, let's do
Yeah.
it. It's one of those things where it became all of a sudden my focus was not, I don't know how to explain this, but just my focus changed. And I really believe that if you put your focus on self love, and you put your focus on what's best for you and your expression to be your highest version of yourself, you're doing more good for the planet, for yourself, for the people you love, for the betterment of all. And it's a total kind of departure from the doing the right thing as if there's some right way to do all the things.
Right.
Your individualism is key here. You cannot be like everybody else and be successful.
Right.
You
What I
really
think
have
it
to do it your way. There's definitely, like I say, like in business, yes, you need a way for people to reach you. You can't just be,
Yeah.
although I will say, I do know of this one guy. He's a, what is he? He's a shaman. I'm like, he's not a swami. What is it? A shaman. The guy has no website, no
Yeah.
publicity, nothing, and yet he has all the people. He has a waiting list of 2 years,
He's
a
like
wait list
Hitch.
to work with him.
Hitch.
Who's
Will Smith,
Hitch?
the dating
Oh,
doctor.
I don't remember that. I I don't remember. I know I saw that. That's a movie, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's old.
Yeah. Um,
That's old.
yeah, it's like
So
I
it's
mean,
just if
it's
it's supposed to be out there, it's out there. You know.
yeah. I mean, I'm having my best year ever, and it's a matter of just getting out of your own way,
Yes.
not I mean, it's not even about overthinking or anything like that. It's just I and for me, I literally had to think about when things were working at its highest, most smooth capacity, what were the things involved? And I'm like, Jenny was involved. So I didn't know what you were doing. I like reached out. I'm like, okay, whatever it is, you're going to always have to be involved because I'm going here and I'm down here. You know, it was one
We're
of those
going
things.
here. Going to
Yeah.
enlightenment.
And I'm like, everybody, use the shift of the 2020 as okay, it's going to be the 2020 perfect year, da, da, da. And then it was shit for so many people. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it wasn't shit for me. It didn't maybe go as I'd planned, but 2020 perfect vision. It made us all realize
I thought it was
we
a
could
wonderful year.
see.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2020 made us actually see what really mattered, and it's like how many people got to work from home, got to hang out with their family. Like,
Well, that's what they
like
say is going to happen now is that this one guy that I met, he lives in England. His name's Colin. He does channelings, like he just gets divine messages and shares them. And he named the date. He said 2039 is when this is coming to
see, I would
2029, not 2039, 2029, 8 years from now.
oof,
There's going to be a split. And the split is some people are going to be like, oh my God, it's just getting better and better and better. And other people are like, things are getting worse and worse and worse. And I've also read about this because this is when they talk about the ascent, the planet. It's literally we're all together. It's just perspective. Some people
yep,
are going to go, oh my God, it's wonderful, and nirvana. And other people are going to be like, I died and gone to hell. And they'll be fine, but everything to them will seem horrible. And I can already tell where I'm going. And I think you
yeah,
too, because
yeah,
already things are getting better and better and better.
yeah,
So it's really, you can choose to be on either timeline, like you could be either way. But if your perspective is things are getting worse and worse and worse, I can only just, go in. Stop looking outside of yourself for shit and go in.
yeah.
Because when you go in, you're going into divine space. You're going into your heart. Oh, look how I brought us back to the beginning. You're going into this,
Accidentally.
yeah, you're going into the space of where if you go inward to your heart, I think more people would see how to be happy. It's not about what you have or
Right.
things. It's about who you're being and who you are and your contribution, how you help others. If you're doing that, you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
You're going to be aces.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's nothing to
Yeah.
fear.
Yeah. I'd be worried if someone made that kind of prediction that some crazy would then try to make it come true, like,
Well, I was like, what the heck does that mean? What been studying this ascension process, new earth, 3D, 4D, 5D. I've been studying this, right, for a while now, for about a year. And it was the first time I ever heard anybody mention a date. And I was like, and then what? Like, because all of a sudden putting a deadline, I was like, it freaked me out. And I realized, well, that's what happens when we get, as humans, we activate when we get a deadline. It's like, it can work for you or it can work against you. And it was working real against me because I was like, whoa, what are you saying?
Yeah.
But he was just pointing out that it just means that that's when we'll have this choice. It's going to be real clear either you're going this way or this way. And I was like, oh, I can already tell. I mean, I don't know. I can't tell for sure what I'll be like in 8 years, but I'm pretty damn sure I'm going to where I'll be because already things are getting better and better and better. So why would that
So
end?
so I just thought about something. Do you ever think, so sometimes I will think, oh my God, I'm falling for everything in the world. Everything that comes down on YouTube, I'm falling for it. And what kind of, but then I realized, oh, wait a minute. I've already tried that and that didn't work. And I didn't keep doing that. Right. So I don't fall for everything. But do you ever think that, like, I'm too open minded to accept all these little,
So,
you know,
right. I don't think I'm falling for things. I think to myself that I already on some level kind of knew this, and that's why I'm so open to it. And I'm very keen that I sound crazy,
yeah.
but I'm
Yeah.
okay with
Yeah.
it. I'm okay with it. I'm like, I just got to be me. I
Right.
know
Right.
I
Right.
sound crazy. If someone else was telling you this, I'd probably be like, I mean, and I wasn't me, like if I was just hearing someone and like, let's take 5 years ago. If I was hearing someone say all this 5 years ago, I would have been like,
Yeah. Well,
so if people think that hearing me, I get it. I would have been the same way. But it's just I've been through too much now. I've seen things and the way I've put them together, we're all the meaning makers, right? The way I'm putting stuff together, I'm not alone. Sounds like
yeah.
you're kind of on the same path. And so like I don't think we're crazy. I think that it's outside the box because I think the box is broken. And I think we jumped outside the box.
Yeah. Well,
Just a
it's
good
funny
place
because
to be.
it's like, just like, I mean, I've been plant-based vegan for years. Yeah.
Yes.
5, 6 years ago, I did think these people are crazy. Like, I made fun of the people I am now. Like, it's one of those things. But then I'm like,
Yes.
okay. And so I think, okay, did I fall
Yes.
for everything? And then when my car broke down, 25 miles away, had I not been the kind of person that makes my own water, I
Right.
would have happened to have 7 gallons in my car with me
Right.
to put back in my car. And what
Right.
kind of water do you put in your car? Distilled water. Like, that's what I had with me. It's so bizarre that all
Yeah.
that worked out. But then I think, okay, that there's a book called Breathe, and it's really good stuff. But in this book, he talks about, you should breathe through your nose when you sleep. One way to really get to that point is just like tape your mouth shut, right? And so I tried it a couple nights, and I'm like, here I am, no glasses, so I can't see. I got my mouth taped shut. It's fine, but then I forget, or I'm like stuck, and I'm like kind of freaking out in the middle of the night. And I'm like, well, something's gonna happen. I'm not gonna be able to scream. Like, it's so bizarre. But I tried a few days. I'm like,
How,
okay,
how
that's
much
not for me.
how much
But
tape is on your
you just
mouth?
put you just put one little piece of tape
Couldn't
or
you just
close your lips.
couldn't you just if you had to?
No, because you put it like that, and so you won't accidentally open up your mouth in your sleep. But it makes your nose open up. Like, it really is beneficial. But I was like, okay, this isn't for me. And so I
Yeah.
let that go. So I have to remind myself, no, I've taped my mouth shut. So I'm okay there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well,
Um,
that's another part that I get like I'm a little concerned about because I'm not a vegan, but from what I understand, like we really all should be.
well, it's like, I mean, even, I mean, I'm like, thanks to you, I'm on Clubhouse. Clubhouse is the most amazing thing in this. It's the greatest thing since the internet, right? Like, anybody that wants to be on Clubhouse, just let me know and I'll add you, right? But it's one of those things. We heard there's a plant-based room, and these doctors are plant-based doctors. So they want to try to help you or cure you with food first.
Yeah.
Pills are last resort.
Right.
And people asked a question yesterday um, about how the people in Korea were smaller,
Yes.
and then now they're bigger. And they said, is that tied to the animal products they're eating now? They said, no, that's actually tied to, they were such a poor country, they couldn't afford to eat or get in the nutrients they needed. Now that they can actually eat more, they're growing bigger. But they said as far as your growth, it's genetics. So your genetics are always going to be bigger than the next. You're not ever going to be like the shortest person in a family is going to be because of someone else in the family who's even shorter than them.
Yeah.
It's not, like your kids get bigger than you as the years go on. So it's just the way it works. But it was amazing that, yeah, they're just eating more food. And they talked about how
That's
the
interesting.
Japanese have always been bigger. Well, the Japanese have always had more money, more food. And
Yeah.
now they've become healthier because they are more plant-based now, maybe some fish, but it's just so different. I was like, wow, that makes sense. But so many people just want to blame this or this or this. It's like sometimes it just happens that way, that,
Yeah.
yeah. Wow. See, this is exactly what I wanted to do is let's just talk like this. Like I kind of forgot we were even recording, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's okay because I no, it's good. I mean, I
Oh, did I
couldn't
let you know we were recording? Did I let you
yes.
know?
I couldn't plan all the things. If you said, "Jenny, I want you to talk about this and this," I'd be like, "Okay." Like I get all nerved out. But if you just
Yeah.
ask me what I think about something, I'm very confident in what I believe and think about.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
just talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great conversation. Thank you for
Yeah.
having
Well,
me.
yeah. Thank you everybody for tuning in and
Yeah.
let us know the comments and we'll see y'all next
She
time.
cray cray.
Very.